Uh, Hello, guys. We'll go live exactly in 2 minutes. I mean, we are live, but we'll start exactly in 2 minutes from now. Let's welcome people who are joining. Very off topic, guys. For the first time, I have got a hold of my friend who's going to speak on blockchain and cryptocurrency. So just let's wait for 1 more minute and then we'll quickly start. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Amit. Good evening, Pushkar. Okay, let's get started. Actually, in the meanwhile, people can join in. Hello everyone. As you already know, this is Satyajit Pattnaik and welcome to my channel. In case you're new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified on my future videos and sessions. Today we have with us Aurobindo Nayak. He's one of my childhood friends and works as a blockchain lead researcher and is having more than 9+ years of industrial experience. And as most of you already know, I have recently started doing such live workshops and webinars. So today's topic is going to be on introduction to blockchain and cryptocurrency. So let's get quickly started on this. In case you have any questions in the middle of the session, you can post it as a comment or in the live chat, and either me or Aurobindo will try to get back to you with the answers. If your questions are somehow missed, you can definitely reach out to me or Aurobindo directly. Links to our LinkedIn profiles are already shared in the description of this video. Now, Aurobindo has created some presentations which he will be showcasing during the session, but the PPT files will only be shared once we reach 100 likes on this video, guys. So go ahead and like this video quickly. Let's get started. Oro, over to you. Let me add you to the stream quickly, and then you can probably introduce and get started. Hi, Oro, you are live. You can get started probably.
Hey guys, I hope you all can see and hear me. So, as Satya said, we know each other for quite a long time, and this is the first time I'm actually doing a live webinar with Satya right now. So, in terms of experience, I have almost 9+ years of industry experience, and my work in blockchain started in 2017. Before that, I was working on ERP. If anybody of you guys know this, PeopleSoft is one of Oracle's products which I was working in before, and then I switched my career into blockchain. And so let's get started on this. Okay. Okay, so what are we going to do in this session? This is like a very basic starter session. Satya, is there any way we can have a show of hands or a poll if I ask some questions like how many are new to this or how many have pre-existing knowledge on this?
You can probably ask Oro, and I'll keep a note on the live chat box, and I will keep you updated on that.
Sure, that sounds good to me. Okay, so this is like a starter session. I know blockchain has been in existence for quite a long time, and so has crypto. But still, I see that there are a lot of misconception, myths, and industrial experience which I've seen lacking in people when I look at other stuff out on the internet. So this is probably you can think of it as a starter session, which makes you interested more. You can always learn more on this. Okay, and this is what we are going to cover today. We will go through a very brief overview of blockchain, what it does, and what it holds to sorry, what it hopes to solve, and what are the use cases and what are the kind of adoption that are happening. I will not only give an example from around the world. I will also give some personalized examples which I have been working on in my previous organizations. The second thing we are going to look at is the blockchain frameworks, because there are multiple frameworks now, and you should be aware of the ones you are using for enterprise use cases and the ones you are going to be using for other use cases. And the third part we are going to look at is the cryptocurrency. This is one of my favorite topics, and I'm guessing a lot of people are also interested in cryptocurrencies because we keep on seeing the price go up, right, guys? So that's the third part. And fourth part is we are going to look at some new things in crypto and blockchain space. So when I say new things, what I mean is, if you look at the cryptocurrency and the blockchain space right now, there are a lot of terms which will, basically go over the head for people who are new entrants to the space. Like what is DeFi, what is an NFT, what is a CBDC. So there are a lot of terms which are very ambiguous and they're very confusing to the people who are new in this uh, scene. So I'm trying to explain it through a layman's term so that you get a basic hold of the concepts, so you can go out and learn more if you like. And finally, I have included the section because a lot of my friends and near ones, they keep on asking me that, okay, all of this is fine, but how do I make a career transition in blockchain? What do I need to learn to actually make a career on this? Is it a viable career for the next 5 to 10 years? What should I do? So these are the things we are going to go over. We have an hour's time, I believe, and there are a lot of topics to cover, and we cannot cover them all. I'll be keeping the last 15 minutes, around 10 to 15 minutes, depending on our time slot, for Q&A. So you guys can ask me whatever questions you have noted down. And in middle of the presentation, if anybody has any doubts or wants to interact, please feel free to stop me. And yeah, so let's get started on this.
Okay, Aro, I just wanted to bug you one time because I already have so many questions so far. Before getting started itself, one of the questions from Harshit is that, or do you want me to ask questions at the end of the session? Up to you.
You can best ask them in between because people will have a lot of questions, and
Okay,
let's try
okay,
to answer them as and when.
sure.
Yeah.
So Harshit is asking, crypto will be accepted by government?
Harshit, in the long term, if you ask my personal opinion, it's inevitable, as Elon Musk says it. In short term, yes, regulations will come. Regulations might be positive, it might be negative. We can't really say, we don't really know, because what we need to do in India is include the people who are actually working in the industry with them. So that's how it should happen. For example, in India, there's a company called Policy 4.0. The lady who is heading it, Tanvi Ratna, is actively involved in government to try to make them understand how the industry is going to behave. I hope it will be positive, but I know it is going to be inevitable in the future. I hope this answers it.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Aro. One more question is, I don't remember who asked it, but the question was, can we, like, once we learn blockchain and cryptocurrency end to end or something like that, is it possible to create a new coin, something like that? Is it possible?
Yes, obviously. For example, if you want, the question can be framed in two parts. The first thing is, do you want to create your own blockchain like Bitcoin has or Ethereum has? That is a complex task to do, but yes, you can basically fork off any existing chain and make your own blockchain. The second thing is creating a token on a blockchain. That is even easier to do. For example, if you take up the standard ERC20 template for Ethereum for creating a token, you can create a token in a day or so. It's not a big deal.
Okay. One more question from Harshit. I know there would be a lot of questions, but let's wind up with this question for the time being. Harshit asks again. He was the one who asked about, is it, I mean, going to be accepted by government or not. Now he's asking me that, how will government earn money if everything will be digitalized in terms of money? Then the economy will go down, and after all, government will ban it.
Okay. Harshit, one thing I believe is, when in crypto, normally they say that we are going to remove the middleman. The middleman job basically changes. A lot of people have this misconception that if crypto comes in, everything is peer to peer. But at the end of the day, even when it is peer to peer, you open an app, you do some transaction on an app, there will be a third party always there. Some level of intermediary will exist. It might not exist in a lot of places, but at some point in the life cycle, you touch an intermediary, and depends on how you are going to use it. Now, money or finance is not the only use case for crypto. You can use it in a variety of ways. So I think that it comes that in future, how it comes, we can't really say, because there are multiple ways to do it. So how the government is going to do it, I have to guess on it practically.
Okay, thanks, Oro. One last question by Gaurav, but I think we can answer it later on. So Gaurav asks that how blockchain technology can be helpful in the data science and ML areas. So probably Gaurav, just get connected with this course. I mean, connected with this session. We'll probably answer this question at the end of the session. Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
think
can answer
Oro,
it
you
both
can
together.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No
Yeah, because
problem.
honestly speaking, we don't know. Actually, we have to explore a lot of things. See, basic time series forecasting on the cryptocurrency rates, that's kind of possible, but what are the other possible things, we need to do a research on it. And obviously there would be tons of activities which is possible, because blockchain and ML together can actually do wonders. So there is some insider news as well. Aura, me and Saurav are also working on something. So many very soon it will be live. So we'll keep you updated on that as well. Yeah, Aura, please continue. Thank you.
Sure, Satya. You should do a time series analysis on Elon Musk tweets. His one tweet gets the market 20 to 30% up and down. So
Yeah.
let's get to the first part, introduction. I know it's cheesy, but you need to introduce something, right? So since most of you are in this session, and I will try to assume that it's a starting point for most of you, you might have heard of this. So let me try to demystify what's blockchain in very layman's sense. So it's nothing but a way data is stored. It's a kind of data structure. That's it. The reason you call it a blockchain is because all the transactions that come in, they are put together on a block, and that block gets attached to the next list of transaction in a block, and those chains go on and on. And that's the reason it's called blockchain. Very simple. But what exactly does it do? So there's a very nice demo I have included in this sign. You can Google it also. Just search for Anders blockchain. That will help you see on a conceptual level that how a blockchain works. It's better than any explanation you will find elsewhere, YouTube videos, even my session. Just go to this link, anders.com/blockchain, and try it out. It's a very simple web application, and it will give you I'll say a very 100% conceptual view into how blockchain works. So from a perspective of technical persons, right, blockchain is nothing but it's like a data structure. Blockchain is just any one way to store data. But why is it so different, they say, right? Okay, we'll move to the next slide and I'll say why it is different. Now, there is a problem in computer science called Byzantine's general problem. Few people might have heard of it. So essentially what it says is, I'll just switch from my slide view to draw.io. I'll try to make it easy. So what Byzantine's general problem says that, okay, there's a castle right here, and you have general one, you have general two, three, and you have general four. Okay, so the objective is you have to take over this castle, right? And the problem says that if all the four generals they attack at the same time, imagine these arrows being attacked. So if everybody does the attack at the same time, the attack is successful. You take over the castle, right? Now, if only one or two attack, rest do not attack, they go away or withdraw or whatever the case, the attack fails on the castle wins basically. So how do you guys make this that general 1 should be able to communicate to general 2 with whatever message saying that, hey, we need to attack at morning 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever, right? So he needs to communicate a message to all the generals for a successful attack. And this is called the Byzantine general problem in computer science. So all the algorithms that have been done till now, even blockchain, they are not completely Byzantine fault tolerance. Now, what does it mean, Byzantine fault tolerance? It simply means they have not solved this completely. There's no 100% solution. What blockchain does is, okay, I'll try to explain a little bit better. I think I'm getting a little bit confusing. So everybody knows SQL database, right? So whenever you put any data in a database like SQL database, you immediately get finality of that data because you're essentially committing a data to a database. So SQL database has asset properties, so you immediately see a commit, whatever changes you have done. In case of blockchain, there is something different. The commit is not instantaneous. What happens is it's called eventual commit or eventual finality, you can say. Now, this eventual finality, what it means is, since there is no centralized system, so in case of any centralized system like an entire architecture, you have a server, you have a database. So there's a client connecting to a server, right? So you don't need any kind of decentralization. But in case of blockchain, what happens? There is no central party, so you need to get your message across. Now imagine, instead of this general, they are nothing but nodes on a computer. Now when I say nodes is essentially nothing but a physical machine. Just think about that. So you want the machines to connect to each other, pass successful message and transactions between each other without involving any kind of centralized party. And this is where problems start cropping up. And that is the reason a blockchain doesn't attain finality like a SQL database. It attains something called eventual finality. So when what is eventual finality? If this is block 1, this is block 2, this is block 3, and all of this, imagine them chained together. So if your transaction is in block 1, it is recommended that you need to wait for a few more blocks before this is final, because at any point of the time, since it's a decentralized network, there may be a branch. So the network may branch into two parts, and then you are going to have a problem. So normally they will say that to avoid this problem, you have to wait for 6 blocks confirmation. In Bitcoin, it's normally 6 to 10. You have to wait. And this is the thing which is called eventual finality. You do not get a final transaction immediately. You eventually attend it. And how is this related to Byzantine general? Since Byzantine general problem is not completely 100% solved, Bitcoin solves it, but it's called basically a PBFT, or practical Byzantine's fault tolerance algorithm, that eventually you get to the state of a transaction. In case of simple words, now if Alice sends to Bob, I know I'm not showing the presentation. Just think of the presentation as a placeholder. I prefer to explain more on whiteboard. So if Alice sends 100 rupees to Bob, and Alice has a balance of, let's say, 500, and now the 100 is sent, so this becomes 400, right? And Bob has 100. So the initial state of the system is 500, the final state is 400, but this final state becomes an eventual finality. So if you do it in a SQL, it's 400 immediately. In a blockchain, you have to wait for some time, and that is by design, because what you are essentially designing is a decentralized system. You do not rely on any third party to take care of all of this, and that is where blockchain shines. So you can use anything for a database, right? For any application, you can use any kind of database. Why use blockchain? Use blockchain only if the decentralization, immutability of data, and you want a very transparent systems. There are very specific ways to use blockchain, and sadly, this has not you know sitting well with C-suite executives in company, because it's a very big marketing gimmick that you put blockchain on anything and everything, and you treat it as a silver bullet, that yeah, my application has a blockchain backend, but does it really need a blockchain backend, right? If like, to give a very bad example, if I were to kill an ant, I can just squish it with my toe. I do not need to shoot a gun at it, right? So you can obviously do it in blockchain, but does it really need blockchain? So that is one of the things I wanted to say here when explaining blockchain, that there are very specific properties which define a blockchain system. First, it must be distributed, and the second thing is it must be decentralized. There is a difference between distributed and decentralized. For example, you can spin up as your nodes in various geographical regions, right? So if you're running an application, spin up the nodes in India, spin it up in Europe, it's distributed, but it's all under the control of Microsoft. It's not decentralized. So there is a difference between these distributed and decentralized, right? So decentralized means the network and the rules are not in control of one people or one group. It is basically with everybody, or at least a majority. The third is obviously blockchain uses a lot of encryption, and the data in a blockchain is immutable. Now there is a small star like terms and condition clause to it. We'll get to it later on the slides, but for now, just think of the data as immutable. When we say immutable, it basically means once the data is gone, when you say CRUD access on a database, create, read, update, delete, you can't really update and delete anything from a blockchain. You can just append to the data. It's like a automatic versioning system. And finally, there is something called tokenization. So tokenization is basically creating tokens, and what it does we'll explain later on the slides. So these properties which you are seeing, this is not something official classification or something. This I have made from my work and seeing others work. Yeah, so don't take it as something official, like, yeah, because most of the blockchain system is completely decentralized, so everybody makes up their own thing. So coming to the third slide, this is again something I have made it of my own because you can say I wanted to explain things better. But this is how I would classify the blockchain generations. So initially, all of you know, or I think most of you would know, that Bitcoin was the first application, and it was finance, it was money. So it enabled people all over the globe to send money to each other without any third party, and that's amazing. I remember in 2017 May, if I remember correctly, I read the Bitcoin white paper, and I was amazed. So I kept on trying to think of ways that this could go wrong. And the more I read the paper, I think I read it 4 to 5 times before I completely understood everything. Um, so by the time I was finished with the paper, I was like, huh, this guy has thought of everything. So Bitcoin was created by a person or a group of persons called Satoshi Nakamoto under the name. And obviously, we do not know who that person is because they chose to stay anonymous till today. So that was the first generation, and Bitcoin uses a scripting language which cannot really do anything more other than transfer of assets from one point to another point, and that is Bitcoin. But what it did especially well was it did not break. It worked perfectly as intended. It worked completely decentralized, devoid of any bank or third party, and it was great. So what happened over time was people started looking at Bitcoins, the geeks and the nerds in space like us, and they were like, okay, we can take the underlying architecture and build something else. And that's when you can say blockchain started gaining attention, because Bitcoin wasn't something built on something new. It was basically taking concepts from age old things, computer science, people have already known. Like everybody knew how to design a Byzantine fault tolerance algorithm, but not how to do it properly, and not how to do it with a distributed system. So everybody knew we could have a distributed consensus mechanism, but how exactly to do it, how to use that protocol, nobody knew. So what Satoshi Nakamoto essentially did, he got all of this older concepts, so consensus algorithm, voting protocols, he got all of them together to build Bitcoin. That was the amazing part. And when people started looking at it, they understood that they could use the underlying framework of Bitcoin to build something new. So Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, went ahead and created Ethereum. And Ethereum was, you can say, the second generation of blockchain systems. So what Ethereum had essentially was a Turing complete programming language. So it allowed you to basically create anything. So for people who are not into, I know that some people are here on the call that who are not in software development. So Turing complete means that essentially you can design a program, and given enough amount of time it will execute whatever you have programmed it to do. Okay, so that was the second generation, and Ethereum brought in two major things. The first one was Ethereum did not fund itself through a normal VC model, which we have in startups. It was the first successful ICO, initial coin offering. So Ethereum gave its asset and earned dollars on top of it. It was the first successful instance of an ICO. The second thing Ethereum did was bring in the concept of smart contracts. And for the layman out there, smart contracts are nothing but business logic. For example, you are designing an application like Zomato, which takes in food, right? The backend you are going to code in some language. That code is essentially the business logic. Think of smart contracts as the business logic for blockchain system. That's it. So the name smart contract, don't get intimidate that it does something really smart. No, at the end of the day, you are going to put in variables, you are going to put in if else condition. It's the same thing, but it does some of the things differently, which we'll obviously discuss in going forward. Yeah. So how to put assets on the blockchain and how contracts were made on the blockchain, that became the second and third generation of blockchains. And now you can say that we have pretty much built upon those contracts, and we have moved on to something new. And we'll look at all of those things in the further slides, right? So let's move on. Okay, this is this was done by a guy on Twitter, very smart guy called Murad Muhammad. So I took his graph and I made some changes on it. You can see my crude changes on Paint. I made this around 2019, if I believe correctly. I just made some small edits to it. That when you look at Bitcoin, how is it improving slowly in the public profile? So we had our moment, we had our time. So right now, what we are looking at is custodial solutions. Like for example, Tesla recently brought $1.3 billion of Bitcoin. They are not going to log into WazirX or Binance or any exchange and buy it. They will have trusted third parties like Fidelity or even JP Morgan to buy it for them. So that is called custodial solutions. Institutional, financial, regulatory clarity, all of this are basically to bring Bitcoin to the mainstream. So how the progress happens, this is how uh, Murad saw it, and I agree with it. So I put in some comments for that. That perhaps around end of 2021, we will see public blockchains will not be a fantasy. And I've seen this happen because in 2018, when I was building projects on Ethereum, it was mainly POCs, to be honest. So we used to show POCs to the client, a proof of concept, and they would have multiple questions about it, but they would not go live with it. But now we have started to see trends changing. Yeah. So let's move on to the next thing. This is one of Deloitte's 2020 global survey data on blockchain. And I found this very interesting statistics. And you can see they have done a comparison right here that this blue is 2020, gray is 19, and green is essentially 18. So what they have done is they have asked some really good questions to see that, okay, what are the answers? So one of the things I found surprising was we look at Bitcoin and blockchain mainly in financial services, but you can see that most of the industry respondents, that what are the projects they are working on, it came from technology, media, and telecommunication companies. Financial services were the second in that, and manufacturing, supply chain, they came in next, and it went down to government and public services. Now, one of the things I found in this survey was uh, government and public services have immense benefit by using blockchain, but right now it's only 2%. So this shows that most of the governments around the world are still clueless about this. Yeah. Um, okay. So this was a chart which shows that for companies, what are their strategy for blockchain. You can see uh, it has steadily increased over the years. Down 55% consider it as a critical top five strategic points. Yeah. Okay. And this is basically a question which says that, okay, how do you think it will adopt mainstream? So you guys can read this slide pretty much, right? So it's not something I need to perhaps explain. This is an industry survey data, and obviously after the session, as Satya said, you guys can have the slide also, no issues on that. And so let's move on to the next part. Yeah. So this is just an infographic I pulled up from Google about the real world use cases, right? So you have a lot of use cases that are going on, but what are the use cases that have gone live? Now, if you look at all of this, you can see there's a lot of use cases going on. So which are the ones which went live, right? So let me tell you which are the ones that have gone live. You see this shipping, this has gone live. So IBM along with Myers has developed a trade finance application called Trade Lens, which is currently in production and it is used by Myers right now to track import LC. So, though for those who don't know, trade finance is basically for example, you are in India, right? You want to import right now, let's say oxygen concentrators from somebody in China because COVID is raging. You want oxygen concentrators. So there is an importer in India. There's an exporter in China, right? So the importer sends, let's say, I need 50 oxygen concentrators, and each oxygen concentrator is, let's say, 1,000 rupees. So give me 5,000 rupees worth of oxygen concentrators. It goes to China. The exporter sees this. Okay, we need to send this, but I need to get payment too. So this process is basically called trade finance. This is what the world relies on, right? So Myers is the largest shipping provider in the world. So it's Myers, four other companies, shipping and trading companies, Along with IBM, they piloted this project called Trade Lens. It has been built using a framework called Hyperledger Fabric, and it is currently live right now. So it is being used to track end to end of the letter of credit, how the shipping happens, how the goods are delivered, everything in real time, and they have done it. This is one of the use cases that is there. Okay, so land registry. This is one of my favorite use cases. This is also live. It's live in Sweden, it is live in Finland, and it is also live in our very own Andhra Pradesh. So in AP, if you buy a land, they geotag your location, your land location, all the details. It's put on a blockchain solution. Again, it's built on Hyperledger Fabric, but they are planning to, move it to something else also right now. I heard some reports about that. So land registry is another fantastic idea which is moving in. Uport is another project for identification. It's in Switzerland. It's go live right now. So right now, for example, in India, we have a very robust identity system using Aadhaar. Yes, there are a few hiccups here and there, but we can say it works quite good. And the reason why I say it works quite good is because I have worked for clients in countries with projects where there is no identification. I'm working for a bank in Sudan. They don't have any kind of identification. How will you do a KYC AML on them, right? It's very difficult to do this, but in India it is pretty much streamlined. There are hiccups, but it's okay. So for people like them, uh, this kind of identification mechanisms using blockchain can be used. Uport is one of those examples which are being used, and the advantages it holds over something like Aadhaar is you do not actually get to expose your national identity, right? So that is hidden. Your Aadhaar, your PAN, if you are sharing this with, let's say you get a mobile connection or something, you give a Xerox copy or you give a fingerprint, they get the Aadhaar details and validate it, right? So you do not reveal your identity out. So this is one of the use cases that is going on. Insurance, yes, this is also go live. There are multiple companies which have done this in US. Ripple is go live with some clients. Ripple is one of the favorite cryptocurrencies for people who newly trade. I know some people on the call who have Ripple, so I think they get it. um, what else is go live? Let me have a look. Fine art, obviously. Fine art is one of those things which is all the hot and rage right now in the world. So we will get to that in the later slides on NFT, how this works. But that is quite go live right now. But there are some things like some things like let me say taxation. This is not yet live, I know. And there are some things like energy which are very less used right now, but most of the use cases which I have seen, they are big time use cases, right? And we will see in the later sections that how you can segregate the use cases. So for example, if you're working in a company like uh, I'll say service companies like Infosys or Accenture or Wipro, you will get to work on projects and use cases for your clients, and they might be implementing in a different way than if you work on a product company like I was doing in my last job, because they are actually building a product around blockchain, right? Or you might work with some financial big houses like JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley or Fidelity, where they might be doing something very different. So the use cases differs, uh, and the work you do differs based on the work you are doing in a company. It really matters on the company a lot where you are working on, right? Okay, so I guess we are finished with the first section, and we'll quickly move on to the second section. Just give me one sec. Okay, we have already done half an hour of the time. We'll try to make it faster. Okay, the second thing is blockchain frameworks. What are the blockchain frameworks that are used across the industry, right? Ethereum is one. Hyperledger Fabric. R3 has a company called a product called Corda. Ripple. Quorum was JP Morgan's before they have sold it now. You have all of this other things, right? So this is basically a comparison chart which I had made, that okay, what kind of blockchain platforms are out there, what kind of activities they have, what are the supported programming languages they do right now, right? And this was basically, you can say, a rating comparison I did. So there are times that you have to choose that for a particular use case, if blockchain is indeed going to be useful, what kind of platform or you are going to choose. So this is how I would rate them. There are parameters like privacy, security, transaction performance, and a lot of other, you can see, right? So this is how I used to do it. So just moving on, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ping Satya so that Satya can relay them to me at any point. um,
I have three questions. Do you want to answer them right now?
yeah, let's answer them right now before moving on.
Okay. So one question by Sangamesh is that which is the best cryptocurrency at the moment?
Okay. um, when we look at best cryptocurrency, I will always go for Bitcoin or Ethereum. If you are new to the cryptocurrency, please uh, have utmost caution because we are currently in a bull market. I would advise Bitcoin and Ethereum as the two largest market cap coins. Like, I love it, but if you're asking from the perspective of how much money you can make, I don't know if I should be telling this over the webinar. That is entirely a different game, because if you're looking to make money, so give an example. If Bitcoin is trading right now, if I believe, for 50, it actually dropped down below 50 today, if I remember correctly. It has dropped $45,000 or something. So if you want to 2x your money, if you want to make 1 lakh slash 2 lakhs in Bitcoin essentially has to rise from 45,000 to $90,000, which is not a big deal. But if you want to 10 times your money, it's a difficult job in Bitcoin. You might have to look at coins which are undervalued and they might rise up in future. So I won't recommend anything on a public webinar, because that will be considered as financial advice, I'm guessing. Uh, but yeah, there are some cryptocurrencies which have a higher chance of going up, but I don't know if I should name them. Yeah.
No, not the right forum to name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, One
Mm.
question by Archan is that Ripple is being sued, right? Is the news correct?
The news is correct. It got sued in December, and the market dropped, like, I remember it dropping to 18 rupees. I sold off before the crash. I so but Ripple has potential for the future. They have quite a lot of partnerships. The tech is solid because I actually did a Ripple integration in 2019. Yeah, I did a Ripple integration with our core banking platform. So Ripple is a platform, solid platform. They are being sued for some other reasons which should not be discussed here. But if you are holding Ripple, you can hold it for some more time.
Okay. One more question again. So when we started taking questions, people started floating with questions as well. So, anyways, Akik has a question. I'm not pretty sure if I am reading it correctly or not. Just correct me if I'm wrong. She asks, she or he, I don't know. What do you think about Hedera Hashgraph? Is it correct?
Oh, yes, it does.
Okay.
So Hashgraph is, you'll see in the later slides, it's one of my favorite projects out there. It's quite undervalued. um, Hashgraph is a very, very solid platform. I actually had the pleasure of talking to Lehman Braid during early 2017 when he was launching the company Swills. I reached out to him on LinkedIn because at that time I had read the Hashgraph paper, and I was very impressed with it, that how they have managed to solve this problem. Blockchain has an inherent problem. It is slow. It is not scalable exactly. You have to do workarounds, you can say. But Hedera had a very solid theoretical way of how they solve it. In 2017, I'm talking about. So I've been following that project very closely. It's an extremely good project, and I think the HBAR token is undervalued. Again, not financial advice, but I feel it is very much undervalued.
Okay. Uh, One more question is that does blockchain enable us to track data from one application to another application? For example, data in UPort 2 can be used in land registry, etc. if organization has both applications.
Yes. See, yeah, I got it. So at the end of the day, like, you communicate from external application through some kind of API, right? So even if you have viewport identification in your framework, they will have a set of APIs you can call. So yeah, it's not a big deal.
Probably we'll try to take a pause regarding the questions, but I do have two more questions to ask, and then you can probably get started with the rest of the presentation. Amit is asking how to help election commission in blockchain technology. Is it possible?
Yeah, Amit. Yes, that is one of my favorite use cases. Voting is a big, big application, and it is my personal belief that some years down the line, perhaps not in 3 4 years, but perhaps some years down the line, I would say it will take us at least another 8 to 10 years, because it's not just technology. You have to get people and governments to understand that yes, voting, imagine you whipping out a mobile in a democracy and voting for the party, right? So that is amazing and that can be done, but it will take time.
Last question, probably. Sadashiv is asking, considering the uncertainties in cryptocurrencies, is it safe to invest?
Sadashiv, see, safety is a perceived thing, right? So Yes Bank dropped to you had to stop trading because Yes Bank was such a solid stock, it still dropped, right? Tesla is way overvalued, people think. Byju's in India, is it really worth 88,000 crores? I would question myself the valuation. So every risk, like asset, has its own risk factor and obviously your own risk profile. I would say Bitcoin is a much safer bet than, you know, putting it in. Like, you should always have your investments diversified, but if I were to pick crypto, I would certainly pick Bitcoin or Ethereum, because volatility is there. Volatility is okay, but safety wise, if you are using, like, you are the holder of your own private keys and you believe in the space, you have nothing to worry about. Like, I have friends who are on this call who know me on this, that I am a risk taker, but risk has paid off.
Okay, Aura, I think we can take
Yeah,
a pause regarding the questions. You can
yeah.
probably continue.
Yep, yep. I think we might extend the time, man.
It's okay.
So,
I mean, yeah,
the
this is for the first time. First time we are having so many viewers. I didn't had like 68, 70 viewers in any of my webinars. I think, I think people are liking it, and I'm also liking it.
okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. If somebody is saying this, other than Satya. So we move on to blockchain as a service. It's called BaaS. I know it sounds again cheesy, but it's called BaaS, blockchain as a service. So essentially, what happened? There are two ways to grow, right? I'll again switch to draw.io. Okay. So in IT, you will see they will always say this. There is a vertical way to grow, and there is a horizontal way to grow your application, right? So what is vertical way to grow? So imagine that your client comes in and says, okay, you have a core banking solution and you have a supply chain solution. Uh, does the backend support blockchain? You don't have a backend in blockchain, so you add a blockchain layer to your existing application and build on top of it. Okay. And as different clients come in for different requirements, you start building blockchain layers on top of your product or service, whatever you're giving. This is the vertical approach, because you are customizing every solution you're building for a client, right? Or what you can do is take an horizontal approach. So you take the commonly used tools and techniques of blockchain, you create your own platform, right? And then your platform becomes, basically, you can say, um, agnostic. So it's not dependent on any other one client. And now you can take this agnostic blockchain platform and sell it as a product to any other client, who can then utilize the products to build some application on top of them, either with your company or some other company. So basically, you go from customizing blockchain solutions to actually being a provider, just like any cloud provider does right now, right? So, for example, if you want to have an ELK stack built, there are two choices: you build it yourself, or you go to Amazon and just spin it up. You want a Kubernetes service, you either build it up by yourself, or you go to AWS or Azure and spin it up. So this is the horizontal and vertical approach in IT normally they do. So blockchain in cloud is basically a horizontal way of doing it. So Oracle, AWS, Azure, they are now offering blockchain as a service. So all the tools and techniques, everything in, you can say, in the technological space is in one beautiful package. So if a client comes to you and says, hey, I have this problem statement, I need this kind of blockchain solution, can you spin up? So in AWS, it will hardly take you 20 to 30 minutes, I guess. In Azure also, the same time. GCP also the same time. It's just like this. So you can create a blockchain network, test network, POC, and everything. Um, just in minutes. You can say in 30 minutes you'll have a test network running, testing out your POC and everything. The only downside is it's a little bit costly, but it's okay, right? So this is blockchain as a service. Okay, this was one of the things I had made before, that these are the three main used platforms in companies: Ethereum, Corda, and Hyperledger Fabric. So this was basically a way I had demonstrated to my organization folks that how do you deploy it, right? So if you have built an application, that's all and good. Do you go ahead? When do you use a local deployment style? When do you use a BaaS? So this was just a deployment methodology. I don't think you guys would be interested in this. I see the most of the interest is in crypto, so we'll get to crypto quickly. So somebody had asked me a question about Hashgraph, and I said that this was one of my favorite things in the distributed space in crypto and blockchain, right? So as I said before, if you turn your minds back to slide number one, I said blockchain is nothing but a data structure, right? So is it just one distributed data structure? No, there are other ways to do it. So there are two companies. I'll just go back to draw again. Okay, there's this called IOTA, and you have Swirls, Ashgraph. Okay, and obviously you have blockchain. So blockchain is a kind of data structure. Now there was this company called IOTA, and IOTA basically created another kind of, you can see, to explain this easier. For example, Xerox machines, right? They are not actually called Xerox machines; they are photocopiers, right? But every machine we see is Xerox. You drink water, mineral water from any bottle, you don't call it mineral water bottle. You will say Bisleri Dena Bhaiya, right? Because it has become like a brand name. And that is what happened with blockchain. So Hashgraph, IOTA, these guys are not blockchains at all, but they are considered blockchain by many because blockchain is now more than just a word, it's a brand, right? So IOTA has its own version of blockchain called Tangle, and Swirls is the company which was created by Lehman Braid and Mace Harmon, the CFO. So these guys created this new technology called Hashgraph. So these two things, they are not blockchain solutions. In fact, Tangle doesn't have any blockchain and neither does Hashgraph. They use another data structure which is called DAG. Just like blockchain, it's called DAG. And the full form of DAG is, I'll just write it out so that it's on this session. Uh, why is acrylic graph? Okay, so to simply explain what is DAG, what is blockchain, just see this. If you remember, block one is like this, block two is like this, block three is like this, block four is like this, right? This is how blockchain happens. It's a linear fashion tool, right? It's a linear way of storing data. Think of it as a linked list in computer science terms, right? This is how a blockchain works. Now you can see what's the problem. The problem is, unless you have the previous block, you cannot have the next block. This actually slows down the system. In direct acrylic graph, you do not need to have this sequential way of doing things. What you can do is, there are no blocks, but I'm writing B because it's easier to understand. It goes something like this. So instead of having one, it branches out pretty quickly, and it uses something different for everything. For example, Tangle uses a different approach to DAG. Hashgraph uses a different approach to DAG. Now there are some trade-offs in DAG because at the end of the day, it might be blockchain, it might be DAG, whatever you are doing. At the end of the day, it's decentralized, right? There is no central party. So you have to take into account the complexities of creating a distributed and decentralized ledger, right? So IOTA, very famous, they created a token uh, called Myota. It rose drastically in value during the 2017 crypto bull run. It went as high as 1500, not 1500, it went more than that. If I remember, it went around 1800 rupees. It crashed to 23 rupees by end of 2018 because there was a critical bug in their version of blockchain, which was found out during research. And They went offline for 6 months. The network was not working for 6 months. They finally went online, but they have a lot of problems in this tangle right now. um, that's one of the things. Now hashgraph is again very good technology, but one small problem: it is patented. Yeah. So it's not open source. You cannot view it directly. You cannot check the SDK and the code directly. And it is currently used by a lot of corporations who are on its governing council, but it's in a closed state. It's a closed permission network. You can't really use it properly. So the reason I said all of this is because what you need to understand, although blockchain has its limitations, those limitations are very freaking hard engineering challenges, very freaking hard. And that is the reason to design a better system which is both decentralized, distributed, fair, and immutable. It's difficult. Like, you come out with solutions and they're great, but those solutions need to be battle tested, right? Bitcoin, a lot of people believe in Bitcoin because it has been battle tested for 11 years, right? 11 freaking years it has not been broken. There were two major, if I remember, breaks, but they had fixed it. But at the essence, everything worked. But there were core vulnerabilities in Tangle and Hashgraph. Although it is promising, it is right now corporate based, it is patented, it's not open. So will something replace blockchain in future? Yes, it might, because blockchain was the first thing to come, right? Yahoo was the first on the space, but did it dominate? Yes, for a while, until Google took over. MySpace was dominant in its space, but did it win? No, Facebook took over. Even Facebook is getting replaced right now, right? It's no more us who are on Facebook. It's more like our parents who are on Facebook. That has become the state of Facebook. So will blockchain get replaced with something new? I think yes, perhaps in future, but that future is quite late, because right now solving the decentralized problem, and it's a big task, man. It's not an easy job to do. Yeah. So I'll get back to the slide again. So, and this is what I have basically put in this slide, that what is the alternative to blockchain? Yes, that is Tangle, that is Hashgraph, and these are the properties of a blockchain network. And this is how you need to replicate. And making this is no easy task, right? So we will move to the next section, cryptocurrency, and after this we will focus on crypto. So before that, Satya, if any questions are there, let's just wrap it up right here. We'll take two or three questions and then we'll get to crypto quickly.
Okay, I have some questions noted down. One second, let me see. Okay. One question was by Archan, that which language do you think will lead the upcoming blockchain services, like Dot and its subsidiaries are using Rust. There are some using Python and some using Java. So
Yep,
what
yep.
is your take on that?
Okay, so honestly, Arjun, in the last 3 years, I had to learn three languages. Okay, so when I started in Ethereum, it was Solidity. Then I moved to Corda. Corda was using Kotlin, and I had no idea of Kotlin. I had to learn it from scratch. Then we had a project in Fabric, and we had to use Go, and I started learning Go. And now I'm going to learn Rust for my next engagement. So you can say 4 years and four languages. So there's no clear winner right now. It all depends on what Go performs a lot of concurrency and multi-threading tasks better than Java, or even better than Rust. Rust is used mainly in some other projects. Python is gaining popularity. Java is mainly used in enterprise space. So there's no clear winner right now. I think give it 2 3 years more, we might see somebody dominating some space. Right now, it's platform dependent, I would say.
Okay, okay. I see some of the other questions, but yeah, I also see that Archan has helped to answer that. So I think you can continue.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there are no questions, but yeah, there are some appreciations to you that people are liking it. Just to
Oh,
let you know.
nice. Okay, now we'll get to what people want. People want crypto. People want to see cryptocurrencies. We are in, after all, in a bull market, guys. I know everybody loves the bull market for whoever is there. So, a very brief timeline. I won't spend much time on it. 2009, Bitcoin created. 2011, Litecoin launches. 2012, I start my job, and Ripple is founded. 2013, Bitcoin goes up. 2013 was the first bull market, you can say, in crypto terms. 2015 is when Ether came into. being 2017, 18 were the wildest times of crypto. 2017 May, I got into crypto. It's a very nostalgic time because when I read the Bitcoin white paper, I remember being so amazed. I was like, hey, I should make a career of this. So I left my entire career and changed my career to blockchain and crypto. So yeah, 2017 was a very, very good year. 2018 and 19 were what we call crypto winter. Everything crashed, dropped, bloodbath. Portfolio, people said like, okay, I am broke now on the street. We had 85 to 90% drops, um, and the market was basically gone. Uh, it's 2020, 21. 2020 saw the rise of DeFi. 2020 started seeing rise of crypto slowly, slowly, slowly. By January, I remember seeing Bitcoin crossing 30,000, and my mind is blown. I'm like, okay, we are officially in a bull market now, and this is 2021 mid almost, right? And we have seen huge amount of crypto news coming in. Like, if you guys use, I don't know, in shorts for reading news, every 3 slides you have 𝐭𝐡𝐞𝐫 coming in for advertisement. I don't know how much these guys are paying for advertisement. So it's been a wild ride. So for people who have been there since 2017, it has been a wild ride, and the OGs were basically made from 2013, right? ICO was the hot topic of 2017-18. Everybody wanted an ICO. What is ICO? Basically, it is IPO in crypto, right? You have a new token. For example, Zomato is conducting its IPO, right? First time listing on the share market. Same thing in crypto. You have a token listed first time on an exchange or something. That's an ICO. ICO mania was 2017's, you can say, boon and bane. It helped the crypto market go mainstream, and it helped crash the entire market. And 2021 is going to do the same for DeFi. DeFi has helped catapult the market to new heights, and DeFi will help it crash down too. So this is what's the timeline of crypto right now. Yeah, I know crypto section will have a lot of question. Hold it for the end of the slide. Okay, this is another generic image I pulled out. I pulled it out from Google because it looks good. But essentially, what this image says to you is there are right now over 20,000 crypto. In 2017, I remember there was around 5,000. Right now, it's over 20,000, believe it or not. Coin market cap doesn't list all the cryptos. There are a lot of cryptos. Um, there's a website called shitcoins.com and deadcoins.com, which you can go and see and cry about the 2017 coins, which are basically dead. They don't exist anymore. The project doesn't get enough funding or money, or people have scammed away. What I want to say is there are different types of crypto in the market. Some are useful, some are not, some are experimentation, some are pure scams. And before we jump into definition, there are know two things you should know. One is shitcoin, one is deadcoin. Now, pardon the language, but shitcoin basically refers to what the word says it is. It's absolute garbage. The coin doesn't have any kind of value or any parameter you can measure it with, right? Intrinsic value, which you normally call it. It's just rising because it is rising. And there are dead coins, like one of the dead coin tokens I'll tell you is called DRGN, Dragon Chain. It was a project backed by Disney in 2017. It went up huge, around, if I remember, 14 to 1500 bucks. It crashed to 17 or 18 rupees, DRGN. It's a very good project. The team members were good. Everything was good. They had the money, but the project didn't simply take off, and nobody knows why. So they're dead coins because nobody is working on those projects anymore, and it has faded into oblivion. So if you're holding DRGN tokens, they are essentially worthless now. So there are good projects which are faded into oblivion, right? So what are the type of cryptocurrencies and what are they used for? So you'll see this Google image basically says that for payment, store of value, programmable money, stable coins, blah blah blah, a lot of things, right? Um, but recently, I told in my crypto group, I also posted it on Twitter for a person's question today, that how would you classify cryptocurrency, right? Um, like, what are the types of crypto you will classify, right? Uh, Satya, am I allowed to show my own tweets?
Yeah, yeah, up to you. I mean, if you are okay with it, then I am okay with it.
I don't want it to be a boring presentation with just. people looking blindly at presentation and sleeping it off. So
Just try to zoom in a little bit so that it will be visible properly.
why is it?
Make it 150% if you can.
Yeah, sure. Wait a minute. Why is my Twitter not loading? One sec. What happened? Did Twitter go down or something?
Let me check. Let me check on my
No, no,
side.
no, no. One sec. No, no, it came in. Came in. I just posted it today. Uh, so a lot of people will ask me. You guys can see the screen. If yes, please ping Satya that you can see the screen. Uh, it's 150%. It doesn't matter the image. Um, okay. Satya, just ask if everybody can see the screen, right?
Yeah, I think everybody can see because I can see it. Yeah.
And do not mind the title, please. We do this for fun. Do not mind the title of the group. so one of my friends asked me that normally when you take any stock or something, right, you value it based on the fundamentals. You check the P ratio, you check the finance, you check the balance sheet, you check what's the revenue they have earned this quarter, what is the profit and loss on their sheet. You check a whole lot of things, right, before serious investors do it. So, what is the intrinsic value of crypto? Why are you buying crypto? What are the kind of cryptos in the market? So, at that time, I basically messaged on the group with a very long winded message that if I had to categorize, there would be five types of crypto, right? The type one is basically store of value like Bitcoin, Litecoin. And why do you use it? You use it for a hedge. What is hedge? Basically, one INR was 60 rupees 5 years back. It's 80 rupees now. So inflation has happened, right? So petrol has gone up, right? So to hedge against inflation, use currencies like Bitcoin, Litecoin, because they have a deflationary property. They are not an inflationary coin, right? So they act as a store of value, just like gold or silver or precious metals, right? What's the second type of crypto? I will say they are used for paying fees on a decentralized network, and this is where you know Ethereum, Polkadot, Atom, HBAR, all of these comes because Ethereum in itself is not just a payment way. It's actually a network of computers around the globe which can perform computations, right? So for doing this computations in a decentralized way, you have to pay some kind of fee. And that fee is basically called gas in Ethereum and in others. But at the end of the day, you have to hold the crypto to pay those fees. And that is the second type of crypto. The third is utility tokens. So utility tokens were all the rage in 2017. Ripple went from being 9 rupees when I purchased to some 280 rupees by end of 2017. Waves was another thing. It has long been forgotten. Mana, QSP, QuantStump was a very good project, and again, it has been forgotten. So these are utility tokens which perform specific utility. And I'll give you an example. So QSP or QuantStump was a company which does security audits of smart contracts, the contracts deployed on Ethereum, and the payment is done in QSP. So you are using their service and you are paying them in QSP. So this is the kind of utility, right? You're taking a service, you are paying them in QSP. Okay. Type 4 is basically novelty and unique items because at the end of the day, people have money. A lot of people have a lot of money. You and I don't, I know. But a lot of people have a lot of money. So they will purchase rare baseball cards. And this is where, the 2021 mania comes in. NFT tokens, right? And finally, five is called stable coins. Stable coins, very simply speaking, one stable coin, whatever stable coin, let's say USDT, it's a crypto, but one USDT equals to $1. That's it. But why do you use it? We'll see it in the stablecoin section, right? So what I said was these were the type five. I would classify personally. I should add a type six called meme coin because looking at the growth of Dogecoin and Shiba Inu, um, I feel so stupid because by the time I research and put something, these guys go up 100 200%. It feels like a waste sometimes, right? So type 6 should be meme coins, coins being just done for the sake of memes. Okay. uh, so I think these are the type of crypto I would classify it properly. So what we saw here is a Google image, and reality this is how I would do it, right? um, did I write anything else? Yeah, I've basically explained it here to my friends. So Okay, let's get back on the slide. Um, okay, what are the kind of usage in crypto? I don't need to explain this slide because primarily it just lists whatever was written right here in this slide. I'll just go back. This use cases which I explained. This is the same thing, that what are the places it are being used. So yeah, move on to Ethereum ecosystem. Now this is a nice graph. I like it. Again, not my job. Picked it up from Google. Don't hate me on it. So you have stable coins. You have these beautiful stable coins right here. You have service providers. My personal favorite is, I would say, Matic. Yeah, Matic is a very good project in India. Support these guys. Matic is a project from India and is one of the biggest projects out there, a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. Infrastructure, these are the tools. Kyber Network, very old project, good. And you can see all of these are infrastructure and development tools. So if you're working on dev tooling, you will probably use a lot of these two things, service and infrastructure, right? Okay. And we come to asset management tools. We use a lot of MetaMask. If you are not using a centralized exchange like WazirX, you might be using MetaMask for transfers. So basically, it's a decentralized way to send. Like if I want to send Satya something and a crypto, and I don't want to send it through Binance or something, I'll just install MetaMask. It's a web browser. You can see it right here. This is MetaMask on my web browser. You can see, right? So this web browser, I unlock it, I send Satya on his Ethereum address. That's it, done. It's a beautiful web browser. I like how the fox is looking. Yeah, we'll get back. uh, the final thing is exchanges, and obviously this is where all the exchanges are built. So the exchanges which are listed here are called DEX, decentralized exchanges, and we'll get to it in the later sections, right? So this is a good way of seeing that. If people ask that, okay, what has been built on Ethereum, you have a lot of things that are built on Ethereum. And I will say that a lot of them are experimentation, but any new tools and technologies, right? It takes its own time. And obviously, this is taking time, but yeah, we'll get there. Okay, so we'll cut through the terms and get to confusing stuff which you hear on blockchain space, but you don't really, you know, get it on layman terms. Okay, we'll try to wrap up this as quickly as possible, Satya. I know it's been late for you. So the first thing is sex versus dex. Now, when I say sex, it's CEX, sex versus DEX. So CEX are basically centralized exchanges like WazirX, Binance, right? Uh, what it essentially does is, I'll just switch to draw.io. If this is the user, this is the centralized exchange, and this is the blockchain network, whatever is there, right? So you log into a centralized exchange with a login credentials like username, password, and tell this exchange that, hey guys, I want to purchase one Bitcoin, please buy it for me. They buy it, they get it, and they store it with them, right? You just see it as a third party. So centralized exchanges are basically like banks or third party institutions, right? So they work on the policy of holding the user funds. They have a traditional login page and everything. So for example, if I were to visit uh, WazirX, right? This is a centralized exchange, right? You log in, you sign up. There's an easy to use. Like I won't log in, but obviously, but you can see this, right? This is what WazirX is or what Binance is, right? So a centralized exchange. So what is a decentralized exchange? Now this is interesting. Now a decentralized exchange is not a new concept. The first and not first, I will say, one of the oldest and most popular was this called BitShares. Um, so BitShare basically came up with a decentralized exchange idea, but it's gone now. There are a lot of other things. So Uniswap is currently one of the most popular decentralized exchanges, right? So if you click on Uniswap, you'll see something different happening. Okay. So you see they have something called swap. So in WazirX, you have to log in and everything. In Uniswap, you don't need a login. You cannot see a login page anywhere, right? What it does is there's a button called connect to a wallet, and if I click on it, you'll see they have all the wallets you can connect. MetaMask. So if I click on MetaMask, you'll see this my MetaMask open up. If I log in with MetaMask, it directly connects to my wallet. So what essentially happens is, in a DEX, the DEX acts as a matcher for a buyer or seller. If this is the buyer, this is the seller, a DEX is used to swap any kind. So let's say that me and Satya are there. I want to sell some BTC for ETH. So I am going to sell BTC. Satya has BTC to give it to me, and he requires ETH. So we'll swap it between us. So that is swap. So there are lot of ways how DEX are done. Swaps are one thing. There are something called liquidity pools. We won't get into it directly, but essentially, a DEX does not handle funds on your behalf. You handle it via your own wallet service, like MetaMask or your hardware wallet or whatever you want, right? And you select a token or whatever, you connect your wallet and you trade it. It's not, rocket science. You can do it too. Okay, so this is sex and dex. So let's go back to the slides. And this is essentially talking about the same things I said. And dexes have seen their volume increase in 2021. The reason why they have increased in DeFi, there are a lot of tokens coming to the market. And if you are a new token on a market and you want to list on any centralized exchange like Binance or WazirX, they essentially charge you a lot of money for listing, because now it's publicly tradable, right? It's like listing your stock on BSC or NSE. So now your stock is tradable with the entire community, right? So it's costly to list on Binance or WazirX. The cost goes up to millions depending on your token. So indexes, you can just do swaps, right? So it's much easier to do it. If you list it on a DEX, it's much easier, much simpler, and the cost is less. So this is DEX. Okay, so what's this DeFi stuff we keep hearing about? Okay, one thing I've seen in blockchain and crypto is they love giving beautiful names. So DeFi, you see these names like Hyperledger, you have Cello. Like the name sounds so high tech, man. But at the end of the day, uh, DeFi is nothing but you take whatever is there already in the finance space, the boring old finance space, and you do it decentralized. That's it. So, for example, you have insurance, right? You have derivatives. Like this is finance stuff. If any finance persons are on call, they would know this better. Yeah. So all of this stuff which is there in finance. So you take these same things and sorry, and you take the same logic, try to do it in a decentralized manner. That is the thing called DeFi. Can we do it decentralized? Yes. For example, let's take insurance, or what's a better example I'm thinking? Okay, let me take this borrowing and lending, right? Borrowing and lending is a very simple concept. You, I go to HDFC, I say, "Bhai, loan चाहिए, कार खरीदना है." So they give you an auto loan with some rate of interest, like I don't know what's the auto loan rate. I don't have a car, so 8%. I'm guessing. So they say, okay, you take this 10 lakhs. This is 8% interest on it. We have this processing fee, documentation fee, insurance fee, blah blah fees. Pay us back 14 lakhs, and you're done. And you pay an EMI, right? That's how borrowing and lending works. Can we do it differently? Instead of going to a bank, can we structure it in a different way? And you already do it in real life, you don't know. For example, if I need money, sometimes a lakh or something, I won't go to a bank. I can just ask my friends, right? Hey, XYZ, can you loan me a lakh rupees? They can loan it, and if you're generous enough, you might even pay them some kind of interest on it. So you take these concepts which traditionally, is applied on the financial markets, and you try to build a decentralized system around them using blockchain. That is essentially what DeFi is: clever integration of centralized services in a decentralized way. Very simple. Okay. And that's what I've written. If you go back, sorry, it replicates existing financial support in a transparent way, and they're immutable. They're executed by code. It's called decentralized apps because apps not controlled by anybody. So these are all fancy terms, but what I want you guys to understand who are in this webinar is understand it as a layman, because if you understand it as a layman, you understand everything else, right? Okay, DeFi market. Um, DeFi is a very niche market right now. It started with a token called Compound, which basically popularized it. Compound token. So Compound token basically kickstarted, you can say, the DeFi market, and ever since it has started growing. And there is something in DeFi called total value locked, TVL. So TVL is kind of an indicator. Think of stocks. It's like PE, right? You do a PE for a stock. It's like total value logged in DeFi. So the more the total value logged in a contract, more is the value. So right now, we see the total value logged in Ether has gone up drastically, and right now it's over $50 billion. Yeah. So this is a very old chart. I think is it? Yeah, it ends at 2021, but right now it's over $50 billion which has been locked, and that's a big thing. Okay, what is a DeFi stack? This is how DeFi's are built. Sorry about that. You can see there are various layer when you design an application, right? And this exactly shows that where do you build an application, and your DeFi can be built on multiple. Now, think of DeFi as Lego blocks. If you guys have played with Lego as a child, you can basically block together different things and make different things, right? So DeFi works like that. So it's a multi-tier architecture. Uh, I hope everybody has understand DeFi. I'm moving on to NFT. So once this slide is finished, you guys can ask questions. NFT. So what is NFT? NFT. Okay. If I take 10 rupees note and I give the 10 rupees to Satya, right? So that 10 rupees value will always be 10 rupees. Like, this is called fungibility, right? One of the fundamental properties of money. The 10 rupees note which I have, the 10 rupees note which Satya has the equal and same value. And the same applies for one Ethereum, one Ethereum. It's always fungible, right? Now, what is non fungible? Non-fungible is, I remember when I was a child, I loved cricket. I don't watch it anymore. But when I was a child, I used to collect all these Sachin cards at that time. And I had a lot of cards. And uh, it acts as a novelty, right? You love those things. They're rare in matter. So there is ever going to be one Mona Lisa, right? You can paint another, you can take the file, but there is going to be just one Mona Lisa, right? That's how it happens. So non-fungible is something unique. It's like a vehicle VIN number, your vehicle's unique identification number. So a non-fungible token is basically something which is very, very unique, and it is just one of a kind, right? And that is exactly what NFT is. And what are the uses? Gaming. In 2017, there was an application called CryptoKitties, if somebody has heard of it. It slowed down the entire Ethereum network. And I personally remember it so vividly is because at that point I had Ether sent from an exchange to another exchange, and it took me almost 2 days for the transfer to process. The network was that slow. So that's what happened in gaming. In collectibles, you have a lot of people collecting rare and unique and antique items like art, fancy art, fancy stuff, and they use it for collectibles. And finally, licensing. You can use NFTs for unique trademarks, for copywriting some stuff, for writing what cannot be done. Now, normally in a licensing, you have to basically give them a terms and conditions sheet. Since NFT is essentially code, right? It's a code written in Ethereum using the language Solidity. So you can just code your terms and conditions. So then they cannot use a NFT in ways which you have not designed it. So you can use it for licensing also. Ethereum has a standard called ERC 721, which is basically the token standard for making NFT. Other platforms have NFT, EOS, Neo, and Stellar, but they are not used. Like, if you look at NFT market right now, 95%, not 95, 97% is built on Ethereum. Yeah. So I hope everybody understood NFT. And these are some recent examples of NFT. Jack Dorsey sent his first tweet of 2006. He sold it for $2.9 million. This guy sold it for 7.8 million. So this is a set of 9 CryptoPunks, and you can see the similarities, right? The blue background. These guys sold it for millions, and I was talking to a group that I should create an NFT myself. Man, this looks so lucrative. Look at this. I don't know what this is. This is a golden bear. It sold for $1 million. And this is obviously the most famous, which made the headlines. The art from Beeple, my first 100 days of his digital art. It sold for a cool $69.3 million. And interestingly enough, it was purchased by an Indian in Singapore. So this is NFT, right? NFT is gaining a lot of popularity right now. And a lot of people would say, just like I have cropped these images from the net and put it, what's preventing people from doing it? Of course I can do it, but I can never claim that this image is mine because I don't have the unique hash for this image. This is there with the buyer, right? This is NFT. What is a stable coin? Stable coin is, which I said, one USDT, the crypto. Oh my god, am I okay? It's 8:20. I'll try to fast. Satya,
No, no,
we have
that's
made
fine,
one
Oro.
hour
You take your
session.
time. You take your time. No problem in that part.
Do we still have
I'm actually
viewers after this long session?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is for the first time you were able to hold the viewers so far. So we have been seeing consistently that there are 55 to 60 odd viewers. So it's
They
good.
are? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought I was just talking to myself.
No,
Okay,
no. And there are more than 10 questions as well. So I have noted it down. I'll ask you later on.
we'll finish this up quickly. So
Sure,
one
sure, no problem.
USDT is basically equals to $1, and this is a stable coin. But why will you use a stable coin, right? So right now, to give you an example of, I'll give you a good example of where to use stable coin, right? Everybody loves crypto, so not loves crypto. Everybody wants to make money in crypto. Okay, so imagine this is the market, right? Okay, why am I not able to draw a straight line? And the market is going up. Okay, everybody loves crypto right now. Now, what happens if the market crash? Doing it drops again. So what do you do in this case? Now, one thing you can do is, for example, let's say you have one BTC, and if you get the one BTC out of any exchange like Wazirex, uh, there are things to consider, right? If you convert this one BTC to, let's say, our Indian currency of INR, and around, I don't know what's it going on. So current BTC price is 38 lakhs, if I'm not wrong. So one BTC is 38 lakhs. So when you get this money out of Wazirex 38 lakhs, who do you think is going to come and knock at your door? The government, right? You have to pay taxes on it. You have to weigh in a lot. And perhaps you do not need this much money. But the market is going down. You have to protect your BTC value because it's 38 lakhs now. Tomorrow it might be 34 lakhs and the money goes down. So in this case, convert your one USD into one BTC into one USDT. Sorry. Now, the dollar value doesn't fluctuate that much. Now, your one BTC worth 38 lakhs gets converted into dollars and it is present on the crypto exchange. Now, BTC value may be going down, but the dollar value remains the same, right? It doesn't go down. It doesn't fluctuate as much as BTC or any other crypto does. So, stablecoin is used for its name, right? Its stability. In terms of volatility, crypto is good, but sometimes you don't need volatility, you need stability. So convert it to dollars, wait out the market. You might redeem, let's say, 10 lakhs you need, you redeem 10 lakhs worth, rest convert it to into USDT, keep it with you. Next time when the market goes up, again, you're back in the game. You don't have to, you know, look at transaction fees, transfer fees, all those nonsense, right? So this is one of the use cases of USDT, or I would say stable coin. There are a lot of stable coins, right? So day to day currency, because sending Bitcoin to each other is network slows down. Send USDT, it's much faster, right? It's almost as fast as 1 minute, right? You can do recurring payments. I used to do this in 2018 with Ripple. I used to recharge my mobiles using Ripple, believe it or not. Um, Remittances, you can do it. I don't do it, obviously. Local currency crashes and everything, improved crypto exchanges, the same things which I mentioned right now. So you get it right. What is stable coins? Pretty easy to understand. What are the types of stable coin? There are four types right now. Fiat collateralized, very simple to understand. 1:1. Basically, one tether equals to $1. But this tether, what is it? When I say one USDT, It is actually created by a company called Tether. So Tether says that give me $1, right? Tether is like, you guys give me $1 and I will give you one USDT. This is the company, right? But the company has to ensure that one USDT should always be in their reserve. So they must have a bank account where one USDT is backed, $1 is backed by one USDT, right? So you are depending on a company. So that is called fiat collateralized stable. Fiat in the sense it's a national currency. Commodity, market to any other commodity like gold. Crypto, market to crypto. So the first thing is you are marking it with dollars or INR. Next, you are marking it with gold or something. Crypto collateralized means you are marking it with some other cryptocurrency, right? And finally, you have null collateralized stable coins, which are algorithmic stable coin. Example is Ampleforth is a very good example, and you have seen this before. I'll just go back. You see this stable coins, Ampleforth, right? Ampleforth is one of a kind non-collateralized stable coin. Yeah, it's an interesting project, but these are the kinds of stablecoin, and I guess you guys must have understood this. Yeah, there's something called yield farming, man. This is huge topic. So there are a lot of topics out there which you will get confused with. So I'm trying to rush through the topics, and there are a lot of topics I do not cover in this because I can talk about yield farming for 2 hours straight, but that doesn't help you. Uh, you need to understand just the basics, right? Okay, so yield farming is basically. mm Let me try to explain it quickly. I'm giving a money to Satya right here, right? As usual, Satya, I'm giving you so much money, man.
Yeah.
So I'm giving money to Satya. Okay, I expect some interest on it, and I need to provide some kind of liquidity. So in between, for example, I can Satya is borrowing money from it, but he needs to put in some collateral, right? I just can't give him money. But for example, if Satya doesn't give me my money back, I might take his car away, right? So that is called collateralizing a loan. So how do you collateralize? How you do it? That is where yield farming comes in. So for example, Satya might take money from me. He might take an equivalent amount from Saurabh, one of our other friends, right? And he might do collateral on it. Now Satya might take this money and he might uh wait, why is this happened to my mouse? Come here. Yeah. So Satya might take our money and he might lend it to one of our friends, Sanjog. Okay. And Sanjog might get this money, he might lend it to somebody else, and it's a cycle, right? And everybody yields some interest on it. So whatever interest they earn, how do they use that interest? So that is called yield farming. And what it essentially does is, if you keep it in a savings account, if you have some spare money, right? In India, it's around 3%, if I believe, savings account. Um, in US, it's around 1.2%. In Europe, they are going to come up with even negative interest rates. You might have to pay the bank, right? So yield farming essentially what it does in a very layman's words takes your money which you have parked away and you are allowed to collateralize it, lend it to someone, get some kind of interest on it. And there is something you will see called APY. APY is nothing but the interest you get. So in savings account in India, you get 3.1%. That is what I've written. Doing yield farming this way, you can get more than 100. There are people who used to get 300% APY I've seen. And it's a huge percentage of interest, but it's like a game. So if you love games, look at yield farming. There's quite a lot of money you can make on yield farming, but right now it has gone down. But there are still a lot of chances you can do yield farming. So yield farming is, you got it right, I don't need to repeat it. Finally, IPFS is basically, sorry, IPFS is essentially how you access files, right? So for example, right now, how do you access files on the internet? You have the HTTP protocol, right? So it's a protocol, it's not an application. IPFS is a protocol, it's a protocol of decentralized data storage, how you store data. So normally, if I go to any website, right, um, if I go to Google, so what do? We put in our URL, right? the URL is basically our identifier, and it is location based. Basically, we connect to an IP address. Now, what it essentially does is it searches for the Google servers nearby me and gives me the data, but it is location dependent. What IPFS does is IPFS is not location dependent URL services. It is something called content addressing. So it doesn't take a URL, it takes the content of whatever is there on the URL. I know it's a little bit complex to understand, but I will try again on draw.io. Wait, we'll take the example of this cat. By this time, I think most of the people would have realized that I hate giving presentation and I hate speaking like this. I normally do it on a whiteboard, and I do it not just for this, I do it in my company too. So we take this cat, yeah, and normally if you have a URL, www.cat.com, this points to the location of the cat. This is how HTTP works. IPFS doesn't have a URL based mechanism, it has something called content addressing. So it doesn't go to www.cat.com. It encodes the entire cat and says this is the cat in a very layman's terms. There's no URL to point to the cat. You find out what is there. It's a cat. Of course, it's a cat. So there is no location based. So read more on IPFS if you guys are interested. It's a very interesting project. We now the thing is IPFS is decentralized, but there is a small problem. The problem is people who are having this cat, they need to store this cat because at the end of the day it's a data. Even if the URL you're going to, it's stored somewhere, right? The data to that URL, whatever is there on the URL, it's stored somewhere. Now the IPFS is supposed to be decentralized, but a lot of IPFS nodes, they host it using any kind of cloud provider like AWS or Azure. So it's decentralized, but in real life now, lot of nodes are on cloud, right? So explore IPFS more. It's an interesting piece of technology if you want decentralized storage systems. Yeah. Okay, cat. Time to say bye bye to the cat and close the cat. Okay. So we are done with IPFS and we are on the last two slides. So we'll take some questions now before we move to the career section.
Okay, I do have a lot of questions noted down. I missed out one question from Abhishek where he was asking about how do you pay the capital gain tax. As of now, there is no such slab decided by the government.
Yeah, you don't. Abhishek, I would recommend you. This is a very long topic. I can't elaborate much on it, but there's a Twitter account called Crypto Kanun. Crypto Kanun has a uh, YouTube channel too, and they have done a video on how to pay income taxes on crypto gains you have made. Please check it out. That will be very helpful for you.
Okay. Moving on to the next question by Archan. Archan is asking, what do you think will happen when the reward for each block of Bitcoin is halved this year?
What will happen in the sense to the network, or
He's
could you
asking
ask
just one,
Archan?
what do you think will happen if it happens? Like if the reward for each block of Bitcoin is halved,
It's
what's your
already
stake
halved.
on?
So it's already halved last year, right? So what we have seen in terms of price action, if you're asking Arjun, historically what I've seen is whenever there's the halving, it's a big event in Bitcoin. So whenever you have a halving, there is a consolidation period for around 3 to 4 months before we start seeing price rises. Normally the price pumps around 33 to 35%, and then it keeps on moving up. So the halving has already happened last year. That's one of the reasons, you know, we have seen the BTC price growing exponentially large, right? So every halving is basically followed by a price pump because scarcity comes in, right? So now the bitcoins are more scarce. Bitcoin is not an inflationary asset; it's a deflationary asset. So the price, obviously, when you have demand but the supply is basically dropping down, obviously the price action goes up.
Okay.
Okay.
One question by Akik is that do you think Ethereum will be able to solve its scaling and MEV problems with ETH 2.0, and will it become, or will it become another Yahoo?
Yes. So this actually depends on a lot of things. Now, 8 2.0, we had the successful Berlin upgrade done right now, right? We had the fork done, everything back in place. So the kind of upgrades you are seeing, we need to see what's the real impact. For example, EIP 1599 upgrade, which is going on, which basically is an upgrade to. Okay, so for people who did not get it, EIP is Ethereum Improvement Proposal. Think of it like an update on your Play Store application, right? Except it's a lot more complex to do this. So we have a lot of improvements coming in Ether 2.0, huge. And layer 1 scaling will improve. Definitely, we'll have proof of stake, we'll have a lot of new things. But I think layer 2 scaling solutions will still be required, like Matic POS, sidechains will be required, because uh, at the end of the day, we are competing with global players. A very used example is you're competing with Visa or MasterCard for payments. So how do you make it that fast? So even with ETH 2.0 upgrade, we'll definitely get faster, but we will be nowhere faster still till Visa or something. We still need layer 2 scaling solutions for that. At least that's my
Okay,
opinion. Yeah.
okay, nice. One question by Sadashiv is that how do I buy cryptocurrency?
Oh, Sadashiv, Satya, just send him this document. Which okay. So Sadashiv, if you are on LinkedIn, please go to my LinkedIn, and my LinkedIn is Aurobindo Nayak. How to buy this is safely and securely. Just did I post it? What do you see the activity? Yeah. So a lot of people ask me this. So please check this document: buying, selling, and storing crypto. I shared it on LinkedIn yesterday for every new guy out there. How to do it? Yeah.
Great. So Aurobindo's link to the LinkedIn profile is already a part of the description, so you can just visit, add connections, and watch his activities probably.
This one just one day before. Yeah. Next.
Okay. Next, why are NFT platforms considered as exchanges?
They are not see exchange. How would you define an exchange? Exchange is basically transfer of something from one party to another party, right? That's an exchange. Now, NFT platforms are defined an exchange because they allow you to trade and market NFT also, right? So you can have a better name for it, but yeah, they are considered like exchanges as of now. So Binance is coming up with an NFT marketplace in June, right? So it's an exchange, but they didn't have a dedicated NFT marketplace, so they are coming up with an NFT marketplace. So yeah, it's just terminology, right? Name it whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, before moving on to the next question, please like this video, guys, because YouTube recommendation systems have changed. So probably getting more likes and more comments on this video will help me to grow, basically. So one more question from Archan is that sex like Wazir and Binance have their own tokens. How?
Yes. See, you can, as I said, right? It's a one-day job to create a token or a one-week job to create a proper token. Anybody can create a token. What you need to know is what is the usability of that token. For example, BNB, right? BNB has gone very high in price. BNB is the token for Binance Exchange. I used to use BNB a lot before when I was trading on Binance, right? When the token price was not that much. So what BNB does is it helps you save 50% of the trading fee. And the portion of fees which goes, it helps to go to Binance something called SAFU funds. So this SAFU funds is basically kind of an insurance on deposit of users, right? So today when people were complaining on Twitter for the last 3 days of WazirX Shiba in a token, people bought it for 3 rupees when it wasn't even worth 0.triple or 401 paisa. So WazirX basically said, Nishal said that, okay, I'll give you guys a free token drop of WRX. WRX has its value because WazirX is a very popular exchange. PNB has value because Binance is a very popular exchange. There are utilities to these tokens, and they can be considered as utility tokens. Both WRX, BNB, KCS, all of these are utility tokens by exchanges.
Okay. Okay. So there is
Mhm.
a question by Sumesh that which is the best app in India to invest in crypto, As I have seen, there is a difference in cryptos across different applications.
Yes. So in India, Sumesh, yeah, Sumesh, in India, use WazirX or use CoinDCX or use BitBNS. All three are good. There are smaller exchanges I would like to highlight. PocketBits is an exchange in Delhi. The founder is a great guy. He works very hard. It's a small exchange, but it works properly. So these are the Indian exchanges. What happens on Indian exchanges is the problem is the pricing is always higher than their foreign counterparts. So if Bitcoin is 100 rupees on international exchanges, on Indian exchanges, it will be always 120. There is always a premium you pay. But that is how supply and demand work, right? So in India, it is a little bit more costly to pay. And also the transaction fees charged are a little bit on the higher side when you compare to foreign exchanges. And fiascos, right? You run into a lot of fiasco on Indian exchanges, which doesn't really like it has happened before on foreign exchanges, but it has slowed down. But Indian exchanges still have it. The recent WazirX problem, both the exchange and the users are to blame. The exchange didn't list it properly. The users were stupid enough to buy something without researching it. So you know happens. You can't really do anything. But in India, if you want to trade properly, I would recommend CoinDCX, WazirX, and BitBNS. The three big ones are good enough. Please follow my document on LinkedIn.
Okay. One question by Sandeep is that what's your take on Ethereum dApps? Is it dApps or is it dApps?
It's whatever you call it, man. Blockchain, I love it because half the people say tomatoes and half the people says whatever potato. Okay, it's okay. Name it whatever you want. Dapps, dApps, decentralized applications, whatever. Right. So what is the scope? See, at the end of the day, h- when you say dApps, right? I have built a dApp, but how decentralized is it? If I'm hosting it on Azure cloud, I'm still dependent on Microsoft, right? So dApps are nothing but actual applications, regular application, which you try to build on Ethereum, but you deploy it on some centralized node. So how, right? A proper dApp should have it integrated with IPFS. The IPFS node should also not be on cloud but distributed. So see, some things are good in theory, but when you actually come down to practice and code at ground level, you come to know, okay, this isn't working like this. Let me just deploy it to the cloud and I'm done with this dApp. Even now, if you look at all the dApps in the market, over 70% of them are on AWS right now.
Okay.
Hmm.
One more question. I think, yeah, one more question from Akik. I mean, Akik and Archan are the most contributors in today's comment section. Akik is asking, let's say a business wants to raise capital too small to list on stock market. Can it
Okay.
use HBAR to tokenize itself and raise the necessary capital? Like every small business has its own token.
Yes, it is possible. CBDC is this, all of it is possible on the HTS Hedera token service. You can do it on Ethereum, you can do it on HTS. But I think HTS would fare better. But we don't really know. See, I love Hedera because of their technology and everything, right? But I haven't examined the code. That is my only thing. That is my thing. But yes, you can do it, obviously. Like from what I've heard, you can do it.
Okay. Some uh, best decision in bull market maybe mint your own token. Okay, that's a statement, that's not a question. Any more question? What about
And
Ethereum? Shanko Dev is asking, uh, I'll just pin it. What about Ethereum? Will the price increase? Any expert comments on that? Or do
okay,
you
not a
charge for
financial.
it?
No, I don't charge for it. I'll say what I see, guys. Most of the things I'm saying here, I'm a very open guy on this. I speak my mind on most of the thing. I don't keep anything secret on all of this stuff because what I believe, frankly, is um, there should be adoption. People should know more about things. So I share openly. So if you're asking me about Ether price, saying this not as a financial advice, just again, it's not a financial advice. As a friend, I would say get in. There is still a lot of run left. Lot.
Okay. So yeah, Shanko, yeah, I think you got your answer probably. buy some Ethereum today. Rehan Siddiqui is asking, Dog, Dog is it's Dog, right? Dog
Yeah,
as
Doge Dog. Yeah.
Doge. Okay, Doge has potential, or Elon will pump and dump it like the Bitcoin.
I got a lot of flack from my friends because I did not recommend them Dogecoin. Um, in 2017 ending, I had around 50,000 Dogecoin on an exchange, and it got hacked, and it is hacked right now. I don't have those Doge with me. If I had it, I would be so rich right now. I wouldn't be working, man. I wouldn't be on Satya's webinar. I'd be doing my own shows, right? So, see, Doge is a meme currency. People love memes, and the crypto world essentially thrives on memes, right? And Doge is funny, it's good. And one of Dogecoin's co-founder, you can say, he is no longer active on Twitter. He actually deleted his account. His name is Jackson Palmer, and I like that guy because he used to speak honestly from heart, right? No bullshit, nothing. He used to directly say what is what, which project is what, and he left the crypto space. He's working as an architect at Adobe. So the reason I said why is it because he said in an interview, and I quote, that I never believed that a joke currency, a meme currency, people would take its valuation. And this is 2018, mind you, when Dogecoin was crashing. It was almost at 2 billion at that time. So he left because he thought the crypto people had gone crazy, that a meme currency was worth this much. You look at Doge's GitHub repo, there's nothing, right? Uh, okay, Musk yesterday said that they're working with Dogecoin developers and everything. And I'm a big fan of Musk. If you look to my left, I have books on him, which I read on him, right? But uh, no, man, it's a fun currency. I used to take it, do some stupidity on 4chan or something. But uh, right now, it's crazy. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Memes have their own job. You do it at your own risk. It's like, even for a guy like me, it's very risky. I'm not doing it, man.
Okay, okay. Akik again has a question in today's, if I'm reading it right
Mhm.
or not, in today's day and age, why do you think, why would government regulators allow decentralized applications to take over which they can't control? Why will they be willing to give up power?
Yes. Um, well, one thing is called democracy. So in India, it's not much, but in US and other countries, you can basically kick the government in their nuts if they're not doing the job right. So what I essentially believe is happen is, if they wanted to stop crypto, they would have stopped it a lot earlier. It's like the genie is out of the bottle. What do you think happens if they ban it? 2017, RBI not banned it; it basically prohibited it, right? In a beautiful way of words, that banking relations cannot happen. There should be no fiat conversion. Did 2018-19 solve that? No, it didn't, right? People just purchase crypto elsewhere. Did banning liquor ever solve anything? Did banning some stuff ever solved anything? Because at the end of this, realize that we are humans. We always find a way to do whatever we want to do. And that is the problem. So if the government wanted to quash cryptocurrency, it should have done it 5 to 7 years before. Now the genie is out of the bottle. Even if they stop it, how can they stop it? There is simply no way to stop it. Like, me being a technical person, I just think of 2 3 ways to stop it. And like, has banning websites stopped you guys in India? No, right? You guys still have, I shouldn't say this, you still have a
Yeah,
lot of ways to access stuff. So
star
yeah,
websites.
star
Yeah.
website. You guys
Yes,
can
yes.
do it. Banning has never solved anything. You should always work with industry veterans. Think about the way forward. There is a lot of advantages the government can take, but let's see what happens.
Okay. One more question. Okay, questions are like, there are more questions now.
Okay.
Potential for Polka as a tech and not token or investment, and their ideology moving forward.
Okay, Polka and everything else. For people who are new, mm, these are basically called ETH killer, like iPhone killer. Like, so these guys are trying to basically unseat Ether as the dominant crypto. Binance Smart Chain, Polkadot, everyone. In 2017, there were Ether killers. EOS was one, Neo was one. EOS had a record. I remember talking to their CEO in 2019 in a conference in Bangalore. So I remember that in some 24 hours, I think they collected $3 billion. I don't remember the number yet. You know what happened to EOS and Neo and other tokens who were ETH killers? The same thing that is going to happen to other tokens if they are not careful. They are down in dumps. The reason they are down in dumps is it's very difficult to remove an incumbent from the top position. If somebody has already occupied the throne, it's very difficult to remove them because Ether has the best tooling, it has the best developer ecosystem, it has the most comprehensive number of community members who work on it. To dethrone Ether will take a massive effort. Polkadot may or may not do it. But if you ask me from monetary perspective in this bull run, yes, dot will go up if that is your question. Dot will go up. Just get out in time.
Okay. Murugappan is asking, how about Shiba Inu? He invested 2 days back. Is SafeMoon listed in any Indian crypto app?
SafeMoon got listed today morning on BitBNS. Go check it out. They have listed 9 new crypto. There are 3 more listing by end of the night.
And what about his first question?
Shiba Inu, guys, see about all meme currencies. I love memes. I share memes, and I look like a meme. Look at this beard and this hair. I've not gone out to a salon in the last, I guess, 1.5 months. Right? I am a living example of a meme sitting like this. But it's your hard-earned money, guys. If you're putting it, put on some good, well-deserved tokens. Uh, that's my way of thinking. Like, why put it on a meme token? It's for memes and kicks. If it goes up, it's okay. If you don't, like, it's your risk, guys.
Okay. I think that's it. What's your opinion on CBDCs? CBDCs. What is CBDC?
CBDC is essentially central bank digital currency. I wanted to include it in this slide, but I thought I will exceed the 1 hour mark. I can see we have exceeded 2 hours
No, no,
mark.
it's almost 2 hours, so it's okay. Go for it.
Yeah, so CBDC is something called central bank digital currency. So essentially, the government looks at cryptos and they're like, God damn it, we have developers making crypto in 1 week. We are a country, we can make our own crypto, right? So this is what CBDC is. So what was the question on CBDC?
No, I mean, just your opinion on CBDCs.
Okay, China's CBDC will launch this year, 100%. They are almost 80% done. The trial run is over, and by end of this year they will do it. The reason they will do it because they want to end the dollar dominance, right? They will do it. And if China does it, Russia is not far behind. Russia has also been working on the CBDC for the last 3 years. They will do it. And it's just like, the domino effect. One goes down, the another will go down, and another. In 2016, not 16, sorry, 2018, somebody asked me a question on Quora, that is India launching its own CBDC called Lakshmi Coin. And I was like, okay, I didn't read anything about a Lakshmi Coin. How did these guys find out? And I researched and researched, but there is no Lakshmi Coin. Even now, the rumors you hear about CBDCs are basically simple loan statements from RBI. From Indian perspective, they are not thinking about CBDC because right now, even the legality of crypto, it's a gray area. CBDC is like our babus move quite slow when you say to technical adoption. Yeah.
Follow up question on CBDCs, that which crypto will the CBDCs use, or will central banks make their own?
They will make their own. This is what I believe. Because, for example, normally we will see that people talking on the web that, okay, ADA will be used in CBDC, or Hedera will be used in CBDC, or Ripple is piloting a CBDC. It's okay. They might do a pilot. But do you think the government is going to give their own national currency, which they are building, to a third party company? There's no chance in hell that they are going to allow a private company reserves of their own currency. They will do it by their own means, man.
Okay. One question from Harshit is that, just wrapping it up. summarizing it, it's a very big question. Why the rates of Dogecoin is different in different applications? For example, he says that in WazirX it's 46 and in CoinSwitch it is 43. Why is it that?
Yes, you're lucky because it's 43 and 46. In 2017, there was a price difference of Ripple, and I'll tell you this that there was an exchange at that time, very small exchange in Hyderabad called BTCX India. Um, at that time, the international rate of Ripple buy price was going above 120, and in BTCX India, we purchased it for 50 rupees, and we sold it on international exchange. So this is what arbitrage is all about. And why does arbitrage happen? Because supply and demand. So every exchange has its own supply and demand. Contrary to the belief, as last 2 days has shown me, a lot of Indians users on WazirX were literally killing Nischal and WazirX platform out there because they thought the exchange was pocketing the money. No, it's an open order book system. It means that the exchange doesn't buy and sell. It's the buyers and sellers who decide the price. So this is the reason that if the Dogecoin rate is 46 in one exchange, 43, go to Binance, it will be 40. It all depends on how much liquidity is there, what are the sellers and buyers offering. That is the reason you will see the price difference across exchanges. This is an arbitrage opportunity in stock terms, I would say.
Okay.
Mhm.
Last question for the time being. Again, Akik is asking, are trading bots viable?
Oh, of course it is viable, man. Use trading bots if you can pay for them. If you don't want hassles, you want an automatic trading strategy, use trading bots, I would say. I know friends who use it. And in between, even I kept on flirting with an idea of building an algorithmic trading bot. I still am flirting with the idea, but that's for some other time. But yes, if you are Gainzy is a good trading bot, Psychobot is a good trading bot. You can Google these terms, Psychobot and Gainzy, pay for their subscription and take up a trading bot, and you can select the kind of risk you are looking for, and based on that the trading bot trades for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it from the comment section. You can probably go ahead with the making career option. Many people are waiting for it, I think.
Okay, okay, it's a very short slide.
And the number of people have still not dropped. It's still 55, so which
Hmm.
is a good sign.
That
We
is
can also
not,
have a follow up session, yeah, next time again.
that is not what I expected. Okay, I thought this will be like my gaming streams. We have three
Yeah, I
viewers,
mean,
five viewers, and we drop off.
it's a data science channel, and I hardly get these many subscribers or these many viewers at in my webinars. You are a guest coming and speaking on blockchain and cryptocurrency, and you are stealing
Oh,
my viewers.
I
So
know, right? I mean,
this
I'll
is
get you new viewers for this.
okay. Thank you. Okay, let's get started with the career part.
Yep. So on career part, see, these are slides, these are data, and that is me, right? This is me. So I'll tell you what to do. Um, if you are a full stack developer, it's very easy, guys. If you are a one stack developer, much better, because what you can do is you have already worked full stack, right? So you know, you have a good hold over a language, a database system, you know a little bit about deployment, so it's much easier for you to pick up something, right? So if you're on Ethereum, learn Solidity. If you're working on Hyperledger, learn any one of the three: Go, Node, or Java. If you're using Coda, Kotlin, right? So these are the languages. Rust is used in other ways. Right now, I'm going to use Rust shortly. So perhaps in a follow-up session, I can tell you how to use Rust. But right now, if you look at programming languages, they are dependent on the platforms, and depending on the platform, the language changes, right? Uh, the next thing you want to learn is learn a little bit more about microservices based deployment, because the world has moved on, right? We are no more a monolithic architecture. Once everybody wants microservices based application. And how do you build microservices applications? You need to have knowledge of containers, you need to have knowledge of container orchestrating tools. So this is where most of the DevOps people come in, right? So I know this is not what you would expect, that hey man, I'm talking about blockchain, why are you talking about DevOps? But what I'm trying to make you understand is, uh, if you want to grow your career, right, as a blockchain in this world, um, there are two kinds of path you can take. The first is you can work in any service companies, Accenture, TechM, everyone. You have clients, you will have a set of goals. You will be a developer, you work on development, particularly for something, you code your smart contract, everything. That is a way to grow. A faster way to grow is joining a product company or a startup where you work end to end on a product lifecycle. And that actually helps a lot because you get to know end to end, not just the blockchain part, because blockchain part you will get to know anyways if you're a blockchain developer. But if you really want to progress in your career, then learn end to end. Understand that, okay, if I tell you tomorrow that, okay, we have this requirement from a client, tell me which blockchain network to use. So, for example, I'll guess, right? I'll give you a good example. Um, in my past role, I was asked that we are building this application, a trade finance application to be specific. That Aurobindo, which platform should be there? Um, I could have suggested Ethereum. I could have suggested Corda. I suggested Hyperledger Fabric. Why? Because when I researched, I found out that 75% of applications of trade finance has been built using Hyperledger Fabric. So I suggested Hyperledger Fabric, right? So you need to have this kind of knowledge that you have worked on modern applications, not just one. You might have worked with two, three different frameworks. So you have a comprehensive overview. That's what I'm saying. Don't generalize yourself. You are a coder. I understand you love to code it, but keep your mind open for other stuff. You, being a coder, cannot say, hey man, I'm not going to learn Kubernetes because that falls in the DevOps area. It's good, learn it, because that will help you in a lot of ways, right? So that's what it is. Blockchain developers are not something special. They are basically full stack devs, and they have knowledge on blockchain frameworks, and this is what you will see, right? So one is the service companies, second is product companies, and third, you have companies like Matic. Matic is a great startup. It's in Bangalore. They have completely remote only opportunities, and they are hiring at present also. So Matic is a startup. You work on a L2 scaling level problem, and that is where you can grow even more because you're working on core protocol level issues, right? So that's how it happens. So let's go to the next. Um, what kind of jobs? So I have written this from a developer perspective. Obviously there are managers, product heads, marketing people. Everyone looks for some crypto experience if they are into crypto. But I have basically, it's my fault, I have designed this for developers. So you have core blockchain developers like who work on Ether, who work on Bitcoin, or who work on L2 scaling problems, like people from Matic, right? The second thing is blockchain researchers. What happens here is basically you research the latest protocol in the market. For example, Ether is good, everybody uses it, but Polkadot is the latest. They might have something different, right? Explore Polkadot, do a POC, see how it differs from Ethereum. Can we do something better there? Compare it to Ether, and then let the architects and everybody know if anything can be done. And the architects actually architect the application around it. And finally, obviously, you have engineers and senior engineers who work on the base level on the smart contract and coding and everything, right? So this is basically from a developer's perspective. You have openings for marketeers, growth marketing. You have people in product management positions in blockchain, a lot of things, right? So depending on your position you want to see, check out. I know it's um, a little bit difficult for people to change careers and what they have set their path in, but I would advise that if you get easily bored like me, after 6 5 6 years on a technology and want to change to something, try changing it. You know it might be helpful for you. And one of the lot of questions I get on Quora, I used to get, what is the salary of a blockchain guy? Follow me on Quora, check my answer. These are the numbers I'd given 3 years back, no, 2 years back, I think. I'd given these numbers. Uh, this has varied obviously in the past 2 to 3 years, but check out more answers of my on Quora on the salary part if you're looking at. I think that will be better, like other than this forum. And finally, I've taken up all the questions. I know there might be some more questions. Let's finish it up, right?
I was speaking on mute. So we don't have much questions. Just one more question from Akik is that if you don't mind, he's asking
Yeah,
that if you don't mind, which crypto do you have the biggest stack?
Okay, I won't say which crypto I have the biggest stack, but I'll say what are my top five cryptos I hold the biggest stack in. Okay, I hope that will help you. BTC, Ether, HBAR, VT, and fifth one is a surprise. It can be anything.
Okay. Okay, nice. Any more question, guys? Any? Do we have any questions, or else we can wind up the session? It was scheduled for 1 hour, but it's 2 hours, so it's okay. I don't
And two,
mind
I think
if we
it's
have
two and a half
good
hours.
amount of if we have good amount of viewers. I don't mind stretching a session. Any other questions? We'll just take a 2 minutes pause. Probably, if you have any questions, ask, or else we'll just wind up. Yeah, I think looking at the scenario, I think we will have more sessions on blockchain and crypto because it's kind of a hot topic as well, and people are loving it. And I know it's kind of for layman's, for people who are complete beginners. I think for them it would be a little bit difficult to understand, but probably now
No.
Akik is asking if we were to abandon four and save one, which one? So obviously he's not going to name that Akik, so it's very personal. So
Four
if you,
abandoned four.
so
Okay.
it's yeah, same thing. He's just asking the same thing. So
Okay. Oh, it's obviously BTC, man. There's nothing to say about it. It's obviously Bitcoin.
yeah, okay. Okay, okay. So any other questions? Okay. Let's just wait for last 1 minute. If you have any questions, anybody has any questions related to blockchain or related career prospects or anything, if you want to switch your career to blockchain or
Ah,
something like that,
if you want
we are. Yeah, yeah, tell me,
big
tell me.
answers, like if you guys want some answers on crypto and everything on big, just ask me on Quora. I'm there on Quora by Aurobindo Nayak by my own name. Ask me on Quora any questions on cryptocurrency, I answer it. And if you were just looking for small stuff, hit me up on Twitter. I will respond to that. Yeah.
Okay, I think it was really an amazing session, Aurobindo. I really liked it, and many people liked it as well. So I'm pretty much sure for some of them it was a little bit difficult to grasp, but yeah, it can be consumed when you are good with the basics, right? So we'll have some follow-up sessions on crypto, bitcoins, and obviously this channel is all about data science, machine learning. So we'll also have a lot of sessions coming in. I think you already know, right? Many of my subscribers know that I come live every Sunday at 7 p.m. IST, and I speak on, either I speak or I invite somebody to speak. So either of the cases, it's going to be you who will be enjoying the sessions for free. And that's it from my side. I think it was really nice, Oro. Thanks for joining me. And somebody asked that for how long you know each other. I think we know each other since 15 years or
No,
14
not
years.
from college. We know each other since
7,
2007.
2007, from
Yeah.
2007. So it's almost 14 years we know each other. And yeah, Saurav, me, Aurobindo are college mates. So uh,
Mm.
just to answer, and if anybody has any questions, follow-up questions, any doubts, guys, just reach out to me on LinkedIn related to data science, analytics, and related to blockchain, crypto. I'm not pretty sure if he gives you a yes, if you can reach him out or not, but you have
Yeah, reach
his
out to
LinkedIn
me on
profile.
everything. Yeah, so subscribe to Satya. I don't have a YouTube channel for learning. I have a YouTube channel for gaming. So I don't have it for learning. I use YouTube for fun. Yeah, so subscribe to Satya. Enjoy your sessions on data science, guys.
Sure. That's it, guys. Thank you, and have a good night. And let's catch up for another session next Sunday. Just like, share, and subscribe the channel, and keep supporting, guys. Thank you, guys.
Hey,
Thank
thanks,
you all.
guys. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.